Today we're going to be talking about a question that I get asked very often. If you have profitable bots, why sell them? Why not just use the bots only for yourself and make money? And this is a very common question that many EA developers get asked. And it's a very valid one. So I'm happy to walk you through why EA developers ultimately sell bots, as well as the whole topic around different business streams in the Forex industry. So I think before asking why sell bots, we need to ask ourselves, do bots work? Because many people who ask why would you sell a bot are typically skeptical about if bots or if EAs work more generally. Are they all do any of them actually make money? Is this all smoke and mirrors? How effectively can bots actually work? And to answer this question specifically, I want to take an example of the natural extreme. Imagine we're trading in a swap-free brokerage account. And there's many swap-free accounts. They're often done for Islamic compliance reasons. And we're trading a very simple bot that buys whatever the equivalent amount of the money is in the account of NASDAQ CFDs on January 1st. So let's say you have $10,000 in a particular account. You're not going to buy one lot of NAS 100 because that would imply leverage. That would be, I believe, several multiples of leverage. But you'd buy whatever $10,000 is worth of NAS 100 exactly. So this means that you're not using any leverage. You're using 100%, you're covering 100% of the actual tradable amount just with your deposit. So let's say you do this and it's a swap-free account. And this is not you buying it, this is the bot. So the bot just buys whatever the equivalent of $10,000 is worth of NAS 100 January 1st. And then it does absolutely nothing until December 31st. And then it sells whatever your account value is. And it closes the position. And imagine it does this every single year for 10 years. Obviously, if you look over the past 10 years, this would have made significant amounts of money. Why? This is essentially exactly the same thing as just buying the NASDAQ. So if you assume swaps, then this could be pretty challenging. But because we're in a swap-free account here, we're assuming no swaps. So we just buy the NASDAQ, and then the bot buys the NASDAQ, and then waits a year and sells the NASDAQ. Had you bought a NASDAQ ETF, you would have probably had pretty similar performance. So obviously you don't need a bot to do this, but you could have a trading bot do literally this. So in this scenario, as long as the NASDAQ keeps going up, your trading bot would make money. So the question isn't, can trading bots make money? Because you can have a trading bot do literally that, where it just buys the NASDAQ and waits a year. So trading bots do make money, but not all trading bots make money. In fact, the vast majority are terrible. So the main frame here should be that some trading bots make money, but there's a big difference between real trading bots and fake trading bots. And the reason why we sell trading bots, particularly the real ones, is because they're not magic money printers. So the first question we have to know here, the first point is, yes, there are real trading bots. Yes, they can make money, but oftentimes it's not doing something magical. It's just taking a pretty generic thing which you and I could do manually and putting it in a bot form to be more convenient. So we're not doing some magical high frequency crazy scalper. We're taking a tried and tested strategy like buying and holding the NASDAQ and putting it in bot form. So now we have to ask the question of real versus fake. If I had a fake MT5 bot, which was real, and it had a beautiful line straight up with a 100% win rate, logically speaking, a developer would not want to sell that because they could quite literally put in $1,000 and print cash. But obviously, these bots are completely fake, right? Any of those MQL5 tests you see, which have these magic straight lines up, it's not going to look like that in real performance. So what is a real trading robot? Well, in a real bot, you're not trying to have a magical money printer. You're just trying to have something which does better than the stock market, largely because you're being a bit selective, you're adding a good fundamental strategy on top of it, but you're also significantly benefiting from the fact that you're using leverage and that you're using stop losses. Because most of our bots at Prosperity Algo are essentially smart ETFs, where you're buying and holding the index, but because you have a stop loss which caps your risk, you can use leverage in an intelligent way. So that means if the NASDAQ goes up, let's say 15% a year, we might aim to go up a few multiples of that. So we're not having a magical money printer, but we are aiming, because we're using leverage, to outperform the NASDAQ. So essentially, this means that we're not necessarily having this infinite source of cash. We're simply hoping to use the power of CFDs in an intelligent way to have market-beating performance. And particularly when you mix this with prop firms, you can access a large pool of capital. If you can just even have the exact same performance as the market, but you're able to do so in a prop setting where you have just a massive, massive leverage opportunity, you can do exceptionally well. So that's really the premise here. So that kind of leads to the final question. Why would you sell bots? Well, quite frankly, because we don't have a magical money printer, we ultimately do benefit from the cash flow from selling bots. So if you have a market-beating product, but at the same time you're able to provide a ton of value to a large customer base who also wants to have a good way to pass prop firm challenges, they're then able to essentially buy the bot. You can generate cash flow, which then helps you fuel the business and create multiple streams of income. So that's really why this is the case. So the main answer to this question, which most good developers I think will give you, is these bots, good ones, are not magical money printers that continuously generate cash. Therefore, it's good if you're running a business to have additional streams of cash flows. And through the sale of bots, you're able to then fuel the machine, which includes your own prop firm challenges, which kind of helps all of this business case work. So that's why developers sell bots, and that's why bots work. So guys, I really hope you found this video informative, but the main takeaway is there's no such thing as a magical printer. We're all just hoping to do something which benefits from the conditions which we're in, and multiple streams of income is always a good way to run a business. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.